Hi, guys. Welcome to another installment of Ask the Expert. This is the RE Agent 007 Tammy Bond. This is going to be an exciting one because I've had a lot of questions asked of me regarding title insurance and things like that. So please help me welcome Rocco of LandMark Title and also Dezern of Heekin Law, who is an estate attorney. Thank you guys and welcome.
You're very welcome. Nice to see you, Tammy.
Nice to see you guys too.
Thanks for having us on.
Awesome. Thank you for making the time. I really appreciate it. So let's dive in. What is title insurance and why is that important?
Sure. So what we always do as a title company is we start off by doing a title search on the property. And that title search involves usually anywhere between 30 to really 60-year search, depending on how long that county went back in records and they document those records. But we do a title search to confirm whether or not there's any liens or judgments against the property. We also make sure that the property has access to the property. Occasionally you'll have situations where sometimes somebody has a landlocked property to where they don't have proper access through an actual county road. So we need to make sure that they have access. And then first and foremost, we always make sure that there's no liens, no judgments, nothing that would affect the title from the buyer's standpoint.
Okay. Now, another question that I often get asked is about surveys. Why are surveys important, and do you have to have one?
So surveys are very important. And the reason why is because so many times we'll see that a lot of people will follow the fence line of their property versus the actual line of their property. And I had one recently where somebody had poured a concrete slab for a shed on 8 feet of their neighbor's property. And unfortunately, that's going to be an issue when somebody goes to sell. So that's why we always highly recommend that there's always a survey involved. Typically, if a lender is involved in the transaction, then there is always a survey required, which is going to find any of those types of issues. But surveys are important for not only, encroachments where maybe a fence or a dwelling was on the neighboring property, but it's also important if anybody wants to go add like a swimming pool or any type of permanent structure in the future. We want to make sure that they're not putting that on maybe like a utility easement or putting that to a building restriction line to where they're not supposed to legally put something on that portion of the property. So that typically is why we do surveys and why we recommend them highly to everybody.
Okay, that makes sense. I never thought about building a structure on property that might not actually be yours. I guess everybody thinks wherever you cut the grass, you own it, but that's not necessarily true. Okay. Now, in your search, do you guys run municipal liens, code enforcements, or open permits to just make sure all of those things are taken care of?
So I would say one of the misconceptions that a lot of people think is that the municipal lien search is found within the title search. They are actually two separate searches. The title search, the search of the public records, and the municipal lien search is a search with the city of, Jacksonville or whatever county it's in. It's going to be a search of any open permits or any code enforcement liens on the property that have been placed. Maybe somebody didn't cut the grass, or maybe there's a structure on the property that should have been, demolished quite some time ago.
Got it.
But sometimes those things they're not found in the title search. And so that's why a municipal lien search is necessary. And I always recommend it really to anybody who's buying property, because those are completely separate. And like I said, those aren't found on the title search.
Got it.
And like I said, the biggest thing that we see with municipal lien searches is the open permits. So many times you'll have, somebody who will have done work, whether it be themselves or they hired somebody to do it, and they'll never have that contractor come back and do the final inspection to close out the permit.
Mm.
Those are some types of things that are, that's typically what we see come back on a municipal lien search, our open permit. Occasionally you will have code violations and things like that.
Okay. So that's good to know that you guys take care of that level of search and detail as well. So everything is clean when the transfer is made, for lack of better words. So, okay.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now, these next set of questions are questions that are also frequently asked of us as realtors. And, I try to lead my clients in the right direction, but now that I have you two, I can just tell them to refer to this video. So this is a scenario where a spouse has passed away. And so, of course, you have one remaining spouse. What is necessary in order for that remaining spouse to sell their home?
Well, it really depends. The first thing that matters is how the property is held. If it's held jointly with your spouse, with what's survivorship rights, then yes, your surviving spouse can sell it. I say no problem if there's no title issues, et cetera.
Right.
But as far as authority to sell it, they can.
Okay.
However, if it's not held jointly and there are other actors in play, such as children and children from previous relationships, et cetera, there could be more than one heir to the house, and especially if there's not a will, if someone doesn't have a will in place. So the answer is probably you can sell. You may have to join some other people in doing so.
Okay. That's a perfect segue. It leads into my next question, which is when there are multiple owners and or heirs, does everybody need to be in agreement to sell in order to sell?
Generally, yes. If everyone's name is already on the title and it's to everybody, then they will all have to agree in order to sell it. However, if it is in probate and it is a property that is non-homestead and it is in the probate process, the personal representative of the estate will just have to prove to the court that it is in the best interest of the estate to sell the property. So just because a brother doesn't want to sell it, just because
right.
It doesn't happen.
Okay.
But so they could be objecting to it, but as long as the personal representative can show the court that it's in the best interest of the estate to sell it, then they should be okay.
Okay. So you bring up another avenue. If a person has a will that has passed away, does it require probate? Is probate only for properties or for people who don't have wills?
No, a will goes through probate. That's what we call it. It's probating the will.
Okay.
The only reason a will wouldn't need to be probated is if the deceased person had held everything jointly with someone else, with their spouse or kids, et cetera. So there'd be no purpose for the probate. But that's the only thing a will wouldn't need to be probated.
Okay, so that's just the normal course.
Yes.
And when a person is writing, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I was just going to say, so many times we get asked that because I can't tell you how many times we get a contract or something and the people think that the will is basically the transfer of ownership, and unfortunately not. And that's why it is important to properly take title to property initially,
right?
Whenever you're going to purchase property. And we always ask those questions at the closing table as far as how they want to take title, because it can make a big difference how somebody takes title. That way they go through the proper process of making sure they don't have to pay thousands of dollars in probate costs if the intent is for it to pass to somebody else.
Got it. Good gem. Thank you both. Now, if you have a parent that is in an assisted living type of situation, and let's say that parent is competent, but just not able to get through the transfer of property, what is needed in order for a person to assist that parent?
Generally, it would be what's called a durable power of attorney.
Okay.
And that would be all encompassing. There's a very large one that I prepare that covers everything under the sun, or there can be one it's called a limited durable power of attorney that can be specific to that property and say, I'm giving my child authority to sell this property, sign on my behalf, do whatever needs to be done.
Okay.
So there are options. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. Now, if a person is a military person, let's face it, Jacksonville is military city. What can be done in order to sell a property for a person who is deployed elsewhere, whether they're not in the same city or state, or even in a different country, but they're looking to sell their property here? Is that doable?
Yeah, so what we see most often on military home selling properties is basically what Ray was just talking about, doing a power of attorney. Because a lot of times, if somebody is deployed, if they're not able to sign at the base or sign in front of a notary public themselves, then sometimes we will go ahead and find out who they can appoint as power of attorney. A lot of military sellers, they will already have a power of attorney in place. That way somebody can sign on their behalf, which we have to review those power of attorneys to make sure that they were properly executed. But if in fact they don't have a power of attorney, then we can prepare one of those and have somebody sign locally on their behalf. And that's what we typically end up seeing a lot of times on these military customers.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, all right. Thank you. Thank you both. Is there anything else either of you guys would like to share regarding getting estate planning and or things that are necessary as far as the title is concerned?
I always like to just highlight, it's so nice to have the support here within the office, because Ray, it's so nice to be able to go across the street and just say, hey, Ray, I need you to go ahead and start a probate on this particular property because, they never properly conveyed it over. And it's nice to be able to have that in-house here as an option to all of our customers. And not only can she, prepare probates and things like that, but she also can set up trusts for people and set the durable power of attorneys, which can give them, authority to sign on any property that they own. So those types of benefits is definitely a plus, and having Ray here is awesome. So thank you, Ray.
No problem. And I just want to reiterate that, or say that, estate planning is very important for everybody, because it can definitely help prevent headaches when you're trying to sell property and things like that, and can make it easier to clear up title if there are title issues. So estate something that everybody should have, even if you don't think you have a lot, that everybody needs some estate planning.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you guys both. Something that I really, just a side note, but something that I love about LandMark is my clients can close with confidence. I really love the care that you guys take when I bring my clients to you. So thank you. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Jay. I didn't plan for your names to rhyme, but we're going to rock it. That's an awesome team. And I just really appreciate you guys going the extra mile to make the transaction as smooth as possible, and keep us informed when crazy hiccups happen, because unfortunately,
Absolutely,
they do. So
absolutely, Tammy.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure doing this with you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope you found the information that both Jay and Ray shared insightful and helpful. If you are a seller and you are looking to sell your property, but not sure if your title is clear, reach out to me. I don't mind doing the legwork. And if you know someone who is looking to sell their home, share this video with them. I'm sure they'll find it insightful. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. I look forward to sending you guys more insightful content that will help you in your home selling and buying process. Remember, when we work together, your dream becomes reality. Until next time, have a great day.